Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over a story titled, Am I the A-hole for supporting my son and wanting to go no contact with my soon-to-be ex-wife? And guys, this story, it's all about a guy, he's 39 years old, and he's going to share his story of how his son, who's a 14-year-old teenager, walked in on this guy's wife, the kid's mom, getting plowed by the neighbor's college son who's 20 years old, right? And as you can imagine, the son saw this and was shocked. And now they're getting a divorce. And guess what? The son wants to have nothing to do with his mom, given the fact that she betrayed not only the father, but him too. And right now, obviously, they're separated. And the son, I believe, is living with the father. But get this. The whole family is making this guy out to be the bad guy because the son doesn't want anything to do with her. How is it his fault, right? The son witnessed this. Not something he's going to get out of his head anytime soon. And doesn't want anything to do with her because she ruined the family, all that. And yet this guy's the bad guy here. So it's about this whole thing wondering, hey, is he the bad guy in this situation? Because if I recall by reading this a couple times, he isn't doing anything to poison the kid's mind. He just doesn't want anything to do with his wife and the kid, you know. So this guy has like her family and her trying to shame him and say all these things is absolutely ridiculous. So it's a perfect example of today's world where, again, no accountability for the gals. How at the end of the day, the guys are always the bad guy in the situation. It's just absolutely ridiculous. However, this guy isn't having it, which is good, but he is questioning, like, wait a second, am I the jerk here in this situation? You know, not trying to get the son to reconcile with his mom. So anyhow, guys, I'm going to go over this one. I think you'll find it pretty entertaining. He says, starts off, he says, so this is pretty simple one, I think. My wife, a 39-year-old female, and I are going through a admittedly pretty messy divorce. I thought everything was fine with our relationship. How many stories start off like that? I thought everything was fine with our relationship until my son, a 14-year-old male, told me he walked in on her cheating on me with our next-door neighbor's son, 20-ish, I think. It's been going on for a year now. Obviously, I do the expected thing and move out and file for divorce since she'll probably end up with the house. In what freaking world, in what world is it right where she, after all these years of marriage, gets caught red-handed hooking up with the neighbor's 20-year-old college student son, and she gets the house? It should be the opposite. He should get the house. She ought to be living in a cardboard box down the street. Screw it up. Little reminder, guys, for you guys that think it's a good idea to go off and get married and think that, oh, not my gal, my girl will never do any of these types of things to me, or I can protect myself and never have to lose the house or something. Good luck. The thing is, my son wanted to come with me. I made him stay with her until I got a place lined up, but ever since, he's been living with me and is refusing to spend time with her or even speak with her. And I say that's his choice. He's 14 years old. He saw red-handed her getting plowed by the neighbor's son. The entire time I've been supportive of this. She's scum as far as I'm concerned, and I don't see why I should try to convince him otherwise. Custody came up in the divorce. We're both requesting primary, and when it came to asking my son what he wanted, he said he didn't want to do anything to do with my wife. In my opinion, about 14 years old, I think the kid should be able to choose. Really. And since he saw this and saw how she's tearing apart the family, has no loyalty to him or the father, okay. Now, guys, watch and see how everybody else is reacting to him because of the son's own decision. He says, ever since then, my wife has been plastering all over social media that I've been poisoning him against her, which is causing a lot of family members and others I know to get on my butt about it. How is this guy the bad guy here when she's the one that ruined the marriage? And it would be one thing if, let's just say for argument's sake, that maybe she was hooking up with some dude at work that was her own age, but the fact that it was at the neighbor's house with the neighbor's kid who's 20 years old, half her age. I mean, cheating's cheating, don't get me wrong, but it makes it even worse when it's the neighbor's house, probably someone you've known for a while. Probably she knew this kid growing up, and she's hooking up with him. While I wouldn't say that I've been poisoning him, I haven't exactly been trying to get him to think better of her, which is what some of my family members and friends are angry at me for doing. What's this guy supposed to say? That your mom's the greatest thing in the world and blah, 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 blah? Hell no. And by the way, notice that this whole story is focused on his son, and I respect he's taking care of his son. But nowhere in this has acknowledged him saying, I'm heartbroken over this. Because she didn't just ruin the marriage, she also cheated on this guy. You know? I know he started the thing saying that I thought the marriage was fine. And of course, nobody's deeply in love when they think their relationship is fine. But still, this is also, he's losing his wife here. Now, we can all say, well, that's a good thing, but you get my point here. My sister especially has been on my butt about it. She tells me that I should be telling my son off whenever he expresses how he feels about his mother, and that I should be encouraging him to sort things out with her and to see things from her perspective. This guy's sister, his blood, is defending her and giving him a hard time. I'd tell her, I would be telling her sister to go suck the big one. That's what I'd be telling her. She should be on his side. But no, she's on the wife's side. So, they do stick together, guys. Anybody, if this was me, not that I'd be in this situation, but if this was me and that happened to me and I had my own family taking her side and giving me a hard time, I'd be done. I'd never talk to your ass again. You got to be kidding me. I mean, not that this surprises me. I'm sure this doesn't surprise anybody listening to this. While I understand that this is something that would help him get some form of relationship back with her, I honestly don't see how it's my place to do that. My wife cheated on me for a college kid and threw me and our son away for it. I don't get why I should be helping her to get away with this regarding our son and his feelings about the situation. I agree. This guy would have every right to say what's on his mind about his ex-wife. But I'm not a parent, by the way, so I don't understand all the dynamics here. But at the very least, I would be supportive of the son. The son doesn't want to live with her. End of story. Doesn't have to live with her. But probably the son needs a little therapy, not to get back with her, but also for obviously what he saw and the emotions and all that shit, because he still is 14. And I would say therapy with a little T here, maybe exploring that option if things get worse. Because you don't want the kid walking around being a ticking time bomb or anything like that. My sister and everyone else I've shared my thoughts with are calling me a major a-hole for it. So I'd like to see if others who don't know either of us agree with them, or whether or not it's just a microcosm of our social group and family. So, am I the a-hole? Hell no. Not at all. You're the one that had all this awful stuff happen. First, you had her cheating on you and destroying your marriage. Now, you have everybody coming on, hating on you for her actions. Your son has every right at this point to think and feel the way he does. He's 14 years old. He's a teenager. His hormones and emotions are all over the damn place. If this was a girl, it'd be even worse. Because girls are even more emotional and hormonal at that age. And mood swings and all that. He says, now we're going to go for some updates here. He says, hey, so I didn't expect the post to be as big as it is. I'll take much more time to read through all the comments left, but I promise that I will. What's the point of asking for opinions if I don't read them right? Anyhow, I've noticed that a lot of you are very pushy on the therapy thing. After reading everything, I will reevaluate that and try to encourage my son about going there. But again, I will not force him to go there. I refuse to take his agency away from him, and I don't think that the circumstances are serious enough to force him into receive psychiatric help. I don't see it as on the extreme level of psychiatric, but if this guy's got to blow some steam maybe, and it's difficult to do it to a family member, to talk to a family member or friend, that's when potentially therapy could be helpful. Again, as much as it's warranted for this kid to be angry and emotional roller coaster, he has a right to be, but I don't want him to go around being a ticking time bomb and that type of thing, which can happen. Things like that could screw a kid up for life. I mean, again, walking on and seeing your mom getting plowed by the neighbor's kid. Others have said they fear, now listen to this, guys. Others have said that they fear the way my son speaks about his mother, and letting him do so will cause him to become, wait for it, guys, misogynistic. I don't believe this. As I said, he is pretty aware and a considerate kid. He calls me up on things all the time. He's only talking like he is because he's frustrated and doesn't really have the language to get out what he's trying to say. But in the future, I will speak to him about certain language that he's using. Again, though, he isn't the type of kid to end up misogynistic. So it's interesting where this kid saw what he saw, watched his mom and dad's marriage get ruined because of her actions, and God forbid the kid is angry about it and has words. Therefore, people then are just going to say, oh, well, he's going to become misogynistic. That's ridiculous. Or seeing this at an early age of 14, cheating, and the worst part, cheating from probably the one woman who he should trust the most, doing that to his father and him observing this and seeing this happen in real life, and therefore having an opinion on the opposite sex based on his life experience. Therefore, others will label him as that, misogynistic. That's ridiculous. But seeing things for as they are, therefore it's a negative thing, he's the bad guy? Bullshit. Lastly, a lot of people have encouraged me to tell him that he doesn't need to pick a side and I don't have any issues with him having a relationship with his mother. This is something that I've already expressed, though I haven't said it in those words. I'll make sure to reiterate it as it stands. He is very open about not wanting a relationship with his mother, and like therapy, I'm not going to force him into it. It is his choice. Again, I like to thank everyone for leaving their comments. So, no matter what, this is his mother. Okay, fine. And let's just say he spent a couple years not talking to her. Maybe he does some therapy, maybe he blows some steam, I don't know what. And then down the road, and let's just say, again, hypothetically, she expresses that she's sorry, and I made a mistake, and all that bullshit, you know. At the end of the day, she still is his mom. And if he, down the road, maybe wants to have a relationship with her, then as the father, okay, fine. But, you know, son, this is what your mom did, and leave it at that. But it doesn't sound like he's continuously saying things about her. He's just not disagreeing with the kid when the kid has opinions about his mom. So, in my opinion, this guy is not the a-hole here. He, you know, again, nobody's looking at the fact that what happened to him? His wife is cheating on him with a neighbor's kid. And this guy's going to, no doubt, like he said, lose the house and probably get hammered in the divorce process, even though he didn't do anything. But nobody seems sympathetic about that. They're just making him the bad guy about the thing with the kid. But again, this should not surprise anyone given the environment we're in. So, for again, those of you guys that think you want to get married one day, be aware of all these types of things that could happen, and how, unfortunately, in today's environment where men are, let's be honest here, in some ways second-class citizens, the kind of treatment you may get. It's absurd. Now, I'm going to read a few comments here to show I'm not alone in this opinion. One guy says, not the a-hole. The original poster, what your wife did was hideous and your son witnessed it himself. So you're not poisoning his mind. His mother did that all by herself. Exactly. How about calling her on her actions? How about this guy's sister who's giving him a hard time? Why doesn't he say, hey, you know what she did? Let's look at that situation, huh? But your child definitely needs therapy, and I think it would help you too to get into therapy yourself. As for the family members who are blaming you, tell them to mind their own business or you will cut the contact with them too. Well, this person's being nice. I would flat out say, fuck off. I personally am not in favor of social media smear campaigns, as it does more harm than good. It can easily get out of hand. So block and ignore your ex. Oh, I'm sure he's blocked and ignored his ex already, but nowadays, nobody can do anything anymore without it putting on social media. And I think people that have to put stuff on social media and express their feelings and whine and complain or shame people or some stupid crap like that behave like fucking children. It's ridiculous. When I see grown-ass adults, they have to post on Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore. I got off almost 2 years ago because of this crap. When I see grown-ass adults posting their feelings and emotions, how upset they are or how outraged they are about some damn thing, it's like, grow the hell up. And for anybody that's watching this that does that crap, grow the hell up. It says, other than that, try your best to get full custody of your son and don't pressure your son to start having a relationship with his mom again. He can do that if he wants to down the road. Correct. He's old enough. And after what he's been through, he shouldn't be given a hard time by anybody. Another guy says, I feel like the most he owes his ex, at least he owes his son, is to encourage his son to get therapy to deal with the matter. It won't be for the ex's sake, which is why that's the most he owes her. It'll be for the son's sake. If after that he still chooses to go no contact with his mom, then it's still his choice. But at least he will have dealt with that possible trauma of his mom betraying him and torpedoing his life. Yeah, his whole life is thrown upside down because he's no longer going to live in that house. He's no longer going to have both parents there. He's no longer the one woman he should be able to trust the most in his life has demonstrated he can't trust her. This is going to really mess this kid up. Another comment says, how is the OP supposed to sugarcoat this for his son who witnessed firsthand the act of betrayal? He's not 5 years old. He knew what he saw. He's fully aware of the consequences it had on his family and his life and his poor eyeballs. And lastly, a guy says, I felt like I was reading a post made by a family member because I'm experiencing the exact same situation from your son's point of view. Not the a-hole. He's old enough to form his own opinions and make up his mind. My advice would be to not discuss it unless he wants to talk about the situation, because if you continuously bring it up, your family members and ex-wife will claim to be justified in you poisoning him. Yeah, the last thing you want is to have the family members justified in all the BS that they're giving you. Even though nobody can blame this guy if he certainly had words about his ex. I totally agree with you. He's old enough to logically make his own decisions regarding this. So there you go. And when I was going through that, guys, there was, as you can imagine, lots of comments. I don't think I saw one person that said that he is an a-hole. I had somebody that said, not the a-hole sort of, but you get my point here. So, but it's just amazing to me. This guy didn't do anything wrong, and he's still made to be the bad guy here, even though she ruined the thing. So just a little lesson here about female nature, and not just that, but also just how our society handles these types of things. It's ridiculous. So this guy, I wouldn't have anything to do with any so-called friends or family that are giving him a hard time about this. I'd be like, you're done. Either you're on my side or we're done. End of story. And that sister of his, what a piece of garbage. She probably is a cheater herself and just wants to, have someone else's actions justified or whatever, make herself feel better. But anyway, guys, that is it for today. Let me know. Let me know in the comments section, do you think this guy's the bad guy in here? I'm sure, given this audience, that 99.999% will say he's not the a-hole, but I'd still like to hear your opinions on this. And guys, if you come across a really good story you'd like me to share, or a personal story of yours that you think would be good for this channel, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just make sure it's easy for me to read, or any really good articles you may come across for the type of things I do on this channel. Just email it to me, and give me time, because I get a lot. Sometimes people will email me something, and then the next day they'll email it again, and the next day again, and again, and again. It's like, guys, I'll get to it when I can. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.